So welcome back. This I think is going to be part 2 of the bomber, rat bike, clunker, whatever you want to call it build. Plan is to go at least 10 speed, but I do have some 14 speed wheels, or 7 speed on the back should I say. 7 speed wheels, so potentially 14 speed. I've already looked at changing that bottom bracket from a cottered to a cotterless or square taper, so I can run a newer crankset on it, and that was pretty successful. I'm going to stick with a comment, or go with a comment, that was to use a grub screw on the non-drive side, which should work perfect. But today I'm going to go through a bit of how to convert it from a single speed, as it is at the moment, or as it was originally, to a multi-speed bike, a geared bike. It can be done. It's a little tricky. Hopefully it should work out fully with this bike. Fingers crossed. You won't see the full build today, but I will run through everything that needs to be done. So I'm going to start at the top of the bike, or the front of the bike, and work backwards, letting you know everything that needs to be done, everything needs to be changed or added to make this into a geared bike. At the top here you see it's meant to be a little clamp there, and that should be holding onto the Sturmey Archer cable that runs down if it has Sturmey Archer. If it doesn't, it's relegated. But we are going to need something around here to act as a cable stop. If you plan on having bar mounted shifters, so whether that's putting drop bars on your old vintage bike, and using sort of STI shifters, or as I'm going to do, use thummies or trigger shifters, then you are going to need a cable clamp that sits around here, so you can run the cables down and they can stop there. If you're using down tube shifters, don't worry about that, because the down tube shifters will mount here anyway. But what I've got is one of these JTech Engineering clamps. It has double cables and it's for a 28.6 diameter tube. There we go. So this is literally all you need. It's got narrow on one side for the cables to run through, and open on the other side for the outer cables to stick in. I'm going to clamp that on just like so, and I'll be able to stick the cables in and act as a cable stop. So that will just clamp around there. First part done. Second part is going to be down at the bottom bracket. Obviously I haven't got the crankset on there at the moment. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory that you have a front derailleur on there if you're going to use one. If you're using single, obviously you're not going to have one. And bottom bracket, I've worked out the rough length, depending on chain line, to use there. But underneath we're going to need the cable guides. So you're going to need something like this. This is just an old nasty used one, and that's going to sit on the underside of the bottom bracket, that way around, so the cables can come down from the top, come round, go to the rear derailleur, come round and go up and come to the front derailleur. We're going to have to mount that on the bottom, so that's going to require drilling a hole. Okay, so as standard, a lot of these little cable guides are riveted on. You can either rivet them on, or drill a hole, tap it, and bolt it on. And if you really just want to glue it. But I'm going to try and line it up roughly where I think it needs to go, because I'm going to have to poke the front derailleur cable coming down the edge, coming through there and out the top. Needs to be able to guide it round, and the rear coming down. So I want to try and centre it as well. I'm going to go for a rivet, which should work. I've taken the axle out as well, so I can make sure it's all clean in there. We're going to try and line this up as best we can, because I'm going to have to go over the little, what do you call it, stand clamp there. I think that should be good about there. It should catch the ones coming down. So if I mark that there, okay, I've just got the mark on. Now I'm using a cobalt bit, so hopefully it will eat through if my drill lasts, because the bits are better than the drill. Just check my rivet goes in, because it might need a 3.5. It's a 3mm rivet, so it might just need the hole widening a little bit. There we go. Okay, so make sure this goes on the right way. That side, front coming down. Stick my rivet through. There we go. One bottom bracket guide riveted into place. Okay, and towards the back here there are 3 things left to do. First thing, cable stop. So you can pick up these, you know, I need to clean this one up. This one's just like a vintage cable stop used for stern archer or other shift cables. That'll just clamp around there, hopefully. So that will sit on there. But the important thing is the dropouts. Now, this was suggested. These DMR chain tugs with a mech hanger, because obviously we have rear facing dropouts, horizontal dropouts, and we don't have any hanger on the rear. So these, that's the non-drive side, are just designed to sit in there like that, actually that way around. And then this is the drive side. It's designed to sit in there, sit in the dropout. Obviously we'll take this arm out. The axle goes through, and then we have a hanger. It's going to sit on there, like so. That should enable us to run a derailleur with these rear facing dropouts. In fact, I'll grab a derailleur to thread in there to show you. And I was going to be running this old Altus one, so that will just go in there and thread on, and that will enable this bike now to run 5-speed on the rear, or hopefully, if I can get it to fit, 7-speed. Because once that's all clamped on there with the axle, yeah, perfect. But speaking of the axle, this bike was obviously a single speed, or it can be used as a 3-speed if you've got a Sturmey Archer. Single speeds only tend to come with 110mm between the dropouts, which is not big enough for a multi-speed hub. As you can see here, I've got about 15mm that I need to spread it. Now this part is going to depend on how wide your hub is. You could have 120mm, could have 125mm, could have 130mm or 135. Depends how much you're going to spread it. Now my frame is steel. You can only do this to steel. I would not attempt it on aluminium at all, and I definitely wouldn't do it to carbon fibre. It can only be done on steel frames. That being said, there's still a risk of something, a weld snapping or a bit of braze cracking, so You gotta do this at your own risk. My frame is actually already broken. One of the brake bridge at the top is snapped, so I am getting that repaired. But first I want to spread this Dropout to accept the new wheel. It's got to go quite a bit. Quite a bit definitely is an understatement. So we're going to see how much I can spread it. This is just a piece of M8 rod. And we're going to shove that right at the back of the Dropouts. Going to hold, can you see? Yeah, you can see. Going to hold this side with a vice grip, a needle nose vice grip. And we're going to just spread it. Now I'm going to have to aim for about 130mm. I need to turn this around. Yeah, I'm going to have to aim for 130mm, so I'm going to have to go way past that to actually get the frame to set back at 130mm. Kind of annoying, but it has to be done. And that's why I say it could potentially snap a weld, crack a braze. Just check it each way. I'm going to go to 150mm first and see what sort of effect that has had. Okay, first pass is 150mm now. So we're going to undo that. Okay, that's loose. So, stretching 110 to 150 has meant the spating has only increased to 116, 17. So I'm going to have to go a bit further. Okay, remember, like I said, be careful with this. This is 170mm now, and I'm just going to see how much it spread to. Might have to do this multiple times. I think this should be a fairly strong frame. You know, it's made out of gas pipe steel. It's just the welds I'm worried about, but I'm going to get everything strengthened up anyway. Get it all welded, tightened up. Okay, that's loose. And 170mm seems to have pushed it. Oh, very close. 128. So I'm very close to what I need now. Very close. One more pass, I think. Okay, so hopefully that last bit of movement there should get this in. So now I can run a 7-speed rear wheel on my bummer. Now if you want to make sure this is all done properly, well, as properly as can be, you can check the alignment of the dropouts. And as you can see, they're a little bit skewed, so I'm going to have to just straighten these up a little bit. Just going to pull that one round, this one round. Come on, bike, stay tight in the frame. There we go. And lastly, if you have it, you can check the frame alignment just to make sure that rear triangle is still where it should be. Yeah, it looks pretty good to me. It's about, I'd say it's probably about a mil out. Yeah, not too bad, not too bad. And just to show you everything in place, just mocked for the moment, the chain length is not correct. And obviously there's no cables on it, but there it is all together. I've now got a 14 speed Raleigh bomber. So I guess it's going to be watch out for this next episode, this full build, where I'll just take everything apart again and start from scratch. But these two separate videos have been sort of a more specific target area of the bike. This one converting a single speed to a multi-speed, and it does work. But just to recap, start off at the top with your cable clamp, your cable stop. I'm using the J-Tech cable clamp, and then as it goes down, get to the bottom bracket area. You've chosen the right axle length to run your new chain set, whether it be a double or a single. You've put on underneath the cable guides using either rivet, glue, bolt, however. You run along the chainstay then, and you should have right there the cable stop, but I haven't put mine on just yet. And then you go to the dropouts, and you can use a set of the DMR chain tugs with the mech hanger to run the derailleur, which obviously, as you can see, the wrong chain length, so it's stretched quite a bit, but it fits on there, it works. And you have to stretch the dropouts to accept your new wheel, whether that be from 110mm to 120, 125, 130 or 135. Just being wary of any cracked welds potentially, or cracked brazes in the frame, because the more you stretch it, the more pressure you're going to put on those joints. So that works now. That is now a 14 speed Raleigh bomber, and should I want to, I can change this rear wheel for a cassette rather than a freewheel. Upgrade the wheels. I can do a whole bunch now, upgrading it. So I hope you found this video useful. I hope you found this video interesting. If you're interested to see the final build of this bike, turn it into the full 14 speed, then make sure you hit the subscribe button so you can be notified. Hit that bell button so you can be notified when the video comes out. I do have to do that repair first, and then I can be stripping it down, taking off all this blue and reassembling it. And if you can hit that thumbs up and share it around, then that really helps as well. But as I said, hope you enjoyed it, hope it was useful, hope it was informative. If you have any comments, leave them down below, and I'll see you in the next video.